We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. My name is Tracy Hager. I am the Communications Manager for the Unemployment Insurance Division at the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment. We are very happy to have you here today to talk a little bit more about the new MyUI Employer Plus system, which is the new premium system for the Unemployment Insurance Division. For those of you who have joined us for maybe one of these webinars previously, we have some news for you. The system is going to be available starting October 3rd, 2023. So we're happy to have this webinar to fill you in on some details about the new system and how you will work with it. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about what we're going to do today. I am joined here by a number of my colleagues at CDLE. We're going to start with an introduction into the current system that you're using and then talk a bit about the new functionality of the new MyUI Employer Plus system. That's going to be covered by the Employer Services Branch Manager, Megan Culp. And then once Megan gives that introduction, we're going to dig a bit more into the features and functionality of MyUI Employer Plus, and that will be done by Julie Primo, who is the project manager for the modernization effort. Then we'll feature a few more ways that you can connect with us about the project. We've held a number of these webinars now, so we can go over kind of some frequently asked questions that have been popular in these events. And then we're going to answer some.
Tracy, I think you muted yourself.
Oh, I don't know
somehow.
how I would have muted myself. That was strange. Oh, you know what? I think we were muting everyone that came in and maybe I got caught up with that. Julia, do you know where it cut off?
I think it caught off on right after you introduced me.
Oh, okay. So after Julie kind of dives into the cool new functionalities of the new system, I'm going to talk a bit about how you can reach out to us and how you can get more information on the specifics of the program. We're then going to dig into some of the frequently asked questions that we have been hearing in these webinars. We will then address some questions that you can drop into the Q&A. I just want to give a caveat about the Q&A. There are 1,000 of you here today, so we may not be able to get to everyone's questions. Rest assured, we will try to cover kind of these frequently asked questions, and if we don't get to your question during this next hour, we will be updating the FAQs that are on our website. We will also take a look at the questions that come in during this recording, and we won't have it right away, but we're going to work to answer all those and then upload all of the Q&A to the website. So as you all know, this meeting is being recorded. We are going to share the deck and the recording of the presentation. We're going to send it out to everyone by email later on today. All of this information will also be on our website. We will drop in the website link for you to gain access to that as well. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Megan Culp to talk to us a bit about your current system that you're using and the new one.
Good morning. Thanks, Tracy. And hi, everyone. As Tracy mentioned, I am the Employer Services Branch Manager over the teams that are essentially being modernized with this effort. So for many of you who have worked within our systems, believe it or not, we have had our existing Colorado Automated Tax System, or CATS for short, since the mid to late 80s. So the system is over, well, I guess I should say early 80s, since it's over 40 years. So we are definitely in need of modernization at this time. We have done some minor modernization efforts over the years, putting it into new code, moving it into the cloud, but we are definitely in need of, I think I lost the presentation. Oh, there it is. Thanks, Craig. Of modernization due to the system just currently being quite inflexible and inefficient and not meeting the needs of our modern day business community. So another issue that we currently have, as many of you who have had to deal with any fact-finding requests or appeals over the last several years, may know we do currently have a separate benefits and premium system. So the MyUI employer system has had the, and the CAT system has had the employer side, and then the MyUI Plus system, which was modernized right around COVID in early 2021, was separate and modernized at that point in time. So that has created challenges for us in timeliness and quality, and then of course the overall system performance related to those benefit processing, charging, internal and external partner interfaces. So we are certainly looking for some efficiencies there. So that means we're going to modernize. We're going to have much more efficiencies gained through bringing these two sides of the house together. So we have had very broad stakeholder support for the more self-service features and improving those efficiencies. And then that integrated system will hopefully create some of those streamlined impacts with the fact finding and some of those other issues where you are touching both sides of the house. Next slide. And so that is going to be what we call MyUI Employer Plus. So those of you who are current MyUI Employer users, the new system is just the Plus version, the enhanced version. This is going to be the other side of the MyUI Plus system that's currently live for the benefits side of things. It is going to deliver the Colorado employers, their TPAs, payroll service providers, several new services, which include the ability to pay online. We understand that you've been able to do that currently. This is just going to kind of pull some of that together with the other elements. So more in-depth insight into your benefit charging, if you're a reimbursable employer making a payment. We also will have an opportunity for integrated wage reporting. So where this is going to be different, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about that a little bit later, is that we are no longer going to have that premium report. So we're moving totally to a wage-based system, which means that you're only going to be reporting your SSN wages each quarter. And so that is going to kind of streamline some of that excess wage calculation, the two sides, two different reports that you're responsible for submitting. We are also hoping to have more of a user-focused account management. So really focusing on that user interface, what you all have provided via feedback over time on what you're looking for from us to make your user experience more streamlined. We also will have on-demand customer service requests built into the system. And then we also, I think a lot of folks are excited to hear that we will have a third-party portal, so their own login for their clients, where they will have account settings, roles, and relationships established through that separate portal. And I think that is where I hand it off to you, Julie.
Thanks, Megan, and hello, everyone. I'm so glad you're here to talk with us about the fun and awesome things that we've been developing and building for you. So I am Julie Primo, the program manager. So to start, an easier way to pay premiums. Who doesn't want an easier way to pay? As Megan said, simple payments, fewer reports. So the premiums reports, the UITL1 will no longer be required. Instead, the amounts owed are automatically calculated based on the submitted wages. So once we get your submitted wages, the system will calculate exactly what you owe, and it will spit it out and tell you. Online payments can be submitted right inside the new MyUI Employer Plus system. We are accepting electronic payments via EFT. If employers do need to continue to communicate and work with us via paper, we do have a built-in non-electronic waiver to continue to submit paper check payments and paper wage reports. This is a very easy process that you can set up if you need it by calling us. We can take your waiver right over the phone, type in all the information, and get you set up for a year. It will need to be renewed each year, but what this will do is it will allow the system to send you a paper wage report out each quarter, about 20 days before it's due, before the month of filing starts. And you'll just need to fill that out and send it back, and it automatically links right back up with your account. So super easy, no issues, no lost paper reports. We also have the ability within the system to pay voluntary premium payments. leasing company certification fees, and reimbursable employer securities, all electronically right there in the system. You can also search and view employer payment history. So you'll have access to all of the history on your account, plus what is owed, to see everything historically for the last 5 years plus the current year. We're also saving the banking information right inside your employer account. That's an option that you can choose to save that information for streamlined future payments. Makes it very easy. All you have to do is click a couple of buttons and then you're all set. So this is a look inside the system. So this is the first webinar that we've been able to offer these screenshots. So this is a look into how you pay. So you can see up at the top, you've got your quarterly due dates. So it lists out all the due dates for you, so you have them. And then it also lists, if you are doing an ACH, our ACH company ID, which I do want to make a caveat, this is not the correct ACH ID. This is from our test environment. So don't contact your bank to allow that. The real one will be in the system. And we can also publish that in the FAQs if needed. But you'll have the amount due, and then you can type in the payment amount and then your payment method, and then you hit next and you type in all of the information, which is where it gives you the option to save the information. So very easy to make payments. It shows you exactly what's due, and you can click that summary to see how you got there to that balance. We're also building in saving time on filing wage reports. So this is really streamlined wage reporting. And the teams really wanted to put on some hats of how is this going to be streamlined and easier for our populations? How can we make it easier for our staff? How can we make it easier for our employers and our TPAs? And this is where we landed. So MyUI Employer Plus users will see more wage reporting and file upload options. Lots more options, including additional acceptable file formats. Wage reports will now automatically trigger updates to qualification information on the account if applicable. So once you put in that wage information, the system will do some auto calculating and some checks and balances and let you know what you need to look at and what you need to address. So one of the popular questions that we get is, what are the specs for the file formats? I am happy and pleased to say that the file formats and specifications have not changed. What is currently in place today will continue to be accepted in the future. So it can be delimited, ISESA, ESW2, or XML format. So no changes to the file format. You can also, there's an option to select and upload the wage information from the previous quarter. So if you are an employer that has, say, 10 employees, and it's the same 10 as last quarter, you can actually choose to duplicate last quarters and then just make small updates if you need to, right inside the system. You can also make wage adjustments inside the employer account. You can search and view previous wage reports, and you can assign multiple contacts to receive automatic correspondences and reminders right in there. And I think the next slide shows us kind of some of the options. So right here, you select your filing method. And those, before we get there, up at the top, you select which quarter and which year you're trying to file for. So if you have any missing wage reports, you can go back and file those right in the system right here. And then you pick your file format. So if you want to do a file upload, or if you want to copy from the previous quarter. So if you've got those 10 employees, the same 10 as last, and even if it's not the same 10, say you only have 9, you can still copy from the previous quarter. You can do a manual entry where you want to hand type all the information in, or you can do no employment and no wage report to update. And then once you hit next, it gives you some more options to go through the process of submitting. Really easy right in the system. One thing that the system does is it allows for more of our employers and our TPA population with large employer sets to file within the system. If a file size is small enough, it will process and immediately post to your account. If it is large enough that it needs to be batched overnight, but not large enough that the system cannot accept it, which is 20 megabytes, it will batch overnight. So it'll hold it overnight, and then the next day you'll see any errors and wage and fatal errors. If it is 20 megabytes or more, then it needs to be processed through our AWS family transfer. And we're going to get everybody set up for that. And it's similar to the current FTP. but we have done some analysis in our system, and there's a handful, very small handful of TPAs and employers that will fit into that category. So we're really excited that everyone will be able, for the most part, to do this right in the system. One of the things that we wanted you all to be able to do is take control of your account. So really, we focused in on user-focused account management. How can we help you get all of the information you need at your fingertips, but then also give us all the information that we need to help you do your business? Some of the things that we did. So MyUI Employer Plus, it allows users to view and maintain their account information using all of the self-service tools with less reliance on UI staff. We're still there for you, and we're going to help you through everything that you need help through. But this is going to really allow you to own your account and be able to make updates and do the business inside the system. So what does this mean? You can view and initiate information changes right from the employer homepage. Things like changing your correspondence preference, updating your owner officer information, updating your address information, all of that, one click right from that employer homepage. There's also multiple search options for account information. You can search documents, reports, benefit charges right within the system, and you can see everything. We're also offering lots of options for electronic correspondences instead of the paper forms. This is going to make everything a lot easier for the employer population and us, so you don't have to wait for it to come in the mail. There's also the option to respond to fact-finding requests instantly. Right there in the system, you can open up your fact-finding and respond. And there's integrated wage adjustments, appeals, and protests. So you can see the activity and the history of everything and submit everything right there. So this is a little glimpse into the employer homepage. So you can see across the top of the page is a banner that is similar on all of the screens. So you'll see this on a lot of places. But then on the left-hand side, you've got basic information, your FEIN, your status, your NICS, and your email. And then if you click the view details on any of the bottom of these, it opens up into additional information, as well as you have the options all on the left-hand nav. So the left-hand navigation. The next column is your correspondence, your fact-finding, your past due fact findings, your correspondence preference, your past due wage reports, and then our phone number in case you need it, as well as additional details. The account information is next. So your reporting method, liability date, your current rate, and then a link for forms and letter descriptions so you can see additional information on what each of the forms mean. And then on the right-hand side is the account balance information. So the amount due, the uncollectible amount, the last quarter submission, and then the last quarter reported. Again, the option to view details. And as a side note, this information is from our test environment, so it might not all match up as we're testing through some different scenarios and some accounts. But a lot of really great information right here at your fingertips, and then you can drill in a little bit further on everything. So for our employers with TPAs, this has been one of the hot topics for our populations and our stakeholders is how is this all going to work? What does this look like? So our TPAs, we really are focused in on modernized collaboration. What does that mean to you though? So employers, you will view, maintain, and specify your third-party administrator relationship. So you get right inside of your account the ability to assign a TPA. Now, not to worry, if you already have a TPA that is currently representing you, we are going to take that information from Q2 of 2023 and make that association at go live. So you don't have to go right in there and do that, but we do want you to activate your account. So don't forget to do that because you get a lot of good information activating your account. But we're going to take care of that TPA relationship because we know October 3rd, everybody's thinking about reporting and filing their wage reports. So we wanted to make sure that our TPA population were able to do business for you. So users are going to have more independent capabilities and options to manage the relationships within their individual profiles. So TPAs, they will now have their own accounts to conduct the actions on behalf of their employers. And they can administrate multiple client accounts right from their TPA portal. So what does that mean? The TPA gets their own account, and the association that you make with them then gives them access to your account information right from their account. So you will continue, the employers, to own your unemployment insurance account, and then the TPAs will be granted special access. And there is a couple of different accesses to give. You can give them claim filing, you can give them reports and payments. You can give them account updates. So if you want them to update your account information as well, you can give them that option. But what the TPA gets out of this is the ability to see all of their employers and be able to do the business right from their account. So you will own your account, they will own their account, and it'll be associated. So what does this mean? This means that the TPA roles and relationships established and managed in the employer portal. So no longer do you need to send in that paper UITL 18 power of attorney. We no longer need that because it's done right in the system. TPA relationships are going to be in place at the time of the Q2 2023. So the ones that are in place Q2 2023 will be automatically transferred to the new system. And we're working with our TPA population to make sure that that is set and everybody, all of our TPAs have the right information at go live to make sure that they can file appropriately. We do have a request from our TPA population. It was a really great idea that came out of one of these webinars where our TPA population were requesting to request access. So have the TPA also have the ability to request that access, and then the employer would just need to affirm it and approve it. And that is planned for a future release once we get live. There's going to be separate account and functionalities for our employers and our TPA population, and TPAs can be assigned any combination of roles to conduct business for the employers. So just depending on what you need, there are different options that you can select for the TPA to have. When we go live, we are going to have the TPAs have the ability to file wage reports and do payments on behalf of all the employers that they are associated with in Q2. So if you would like them to do anything above that, you will need to log in and give them additional access. And then we're also taking into account any TPAs that are currently doing fact finding for our employers. Those are also going to be associated as well at Go Live. All right, so this is really the screen that you have to use. So you go right in, TPA name, you type in their name and their ID, and then you hit search, and then you give them the access that you want, and you're done. Super easy. It's just two screens, and then you're done. We really tried to keep things super easy. With this TPA authorization, as well as our employer account activation and our TPA activation. So at Go Live, our TPA population, it's very minimal information that needs to be put in to activate the TPA account. And then once it's activated, we can associate the employer accounts as well as the employers can associate. And then at Go Live, our activation is going to be quite streamlined. So if we have an email address for you, for an employer, we're going to send out an email with an activation link and a code. And really all you do is you type in the code, type in your FEIN and your information, and then you activate your account. And then once your account is activated, it's associated with your employer information. Same thing, if you do not have an email address with us, it will be snail mailed. So those will start going out October 3rd. And same thing, you'll just navigate to a website and type in the same information. So the account activation is quite simple in the system, and it just associates your information with you. So we make sure that you are you activating your account, and then you can associate additional users to your accounts. So the accounts will have one administrator and then additional users if needed. So a better way to connect with us, we also thought about in the system, how do our employer and our TPA population connect with us? So we really thought about how do we give customer service when you need it? So we added in a couple of things in the system. Next slide. Thank you, Craig. So how can we help you? In an effort to provide better customer service all around, MyUI Employer Plus is going to offer new ways to request help from UI staff. So this is one of my favorite features in the system that we actually added in for Colorado. So none of the other systems that run off of this base system have this, and it's a contact us feature. So this allows the users to send inquiries directly to the UI staff. Not only inquiries, but you can upload documentation as well. So the electronic customer service requests is hopefully going to reduce phone holding times and transfers. So if an employer or a TPA is on the phone with somebody from our A20, our protest area and our rates, and they have extra questions that the team can't answer, or you're talking to an adjudicator about a claim and you have extra questions that they can't answer, staff can put in a contact us request on your behalf. Or if you are in the system and you need help, you can put in a contact us request, and you can put in there exactly how you'd like to be contacted, and it will go to the right team. It'll triage through a team and go to the right team to make sure that you're getting the help that you need. So inquiries automatically directed to the proper department staff, as well as we're going to hopefully be able to reach out to you to help you learn how to use the system if you're having issues, so that it's easier for you in the future, point you to some resources and help walk you through some things. As well as I mentioned, you have the option and the ability to upload documentation for UI staff review, as well as you can submit urgent customer service requests. There is an option to escalate your customer service request, which the team will have eyes on and get it taken care of. And this is what it looks like. So right on your employer homepage, you will have the option, it says contact us, and it's a hyperlink and it takes you here, and you just type in the box. You choose a file to upload if you would like, and then you can choose a category and you hit submit and you're done. It's off in our hands and we will take care of it and get back to you. So we hit you with a lot of information. So let's take a step back and let's recap a little bit. So what are we getting out of MyUI Employer Plus? Easier payments. So online premium payments, easier way to see what you owe, why you owe it, and then be able to pay. Faster wage reports. So streamlined wage reporting process, those multiple upload options where you can duplicate a previous quarter, you can manually enter, or you can upload the file. Self-service account management, really user-focused functionalities on that employer homepage. There are a lot of options and a lot of different information that you'll be able to have at your fingertips to access and see. On-demand customer service, my favorite, the contact us. So the help you need when you need it. And then the last one, move my little thing over, TPAs and employer collaboration. So a better way to manage your team, giving the TPAs the access that they need without having the TPA own your employer account, so that they can still do the business for you, but you can also have the access to your account and be able to see everything in there. Then I think I'm kicking it back over to Tracy for a little bit of connect with us.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Megan. So this has been a lot of information, as Julie mentioned. I know that you have lots of questions. We have been updating our website on almost a continuous basis with all of the FAQs that you might have as an employer, a TPA or payroll service. So we just wanted to say, make sure you check our website. I dropped the address into the chat. I will drop it again before we close out. You should go to that website, and if you have not already, sign up for our employer email list. The reason why that is more important than ever is because we are now sending out weekly project updates, where you can get very specific information about exactly what is happening leading up to the launch of our new system. There's right on that new page, if you scroll down just a little bit, there's a sign up button. There's also a sign up button on our newsletter section of that page. So make sure you go visit us online. I'll drop the link in. We will also be sharing some updates on our social media accounts in advance of the launch and at launch. So if you do not already follow us on social media, we are at Colorado Labor on all of the channels that we are on. And continue to participate in these webinars. If you have already sat in on one of these webinars, you may notice that we are filling in new information and new screens every single time we have one of these. So our recordings of these webinars are also on the website. Those will provide you with some good information as well, in addition to all of the Q&A responses that we have had for all of the webinars. So there's a ton of information on the site. Please make sure that you connect with us. Next slide. Okay, so we're gonna go over some frequently asked questions. There's a couple of slides here that that Julie will cover. A lot of you are asking really great questions within the Q&A. So once we finish going over these slides, we'll touch on the Q&A questions. If you like, you can also raise your hand and ask a question live. So we want to make sure to get to as many of these as possible. As a reminder, we may not be able to get to everyone. We will do our best within the time that we are allotted. And if your question is not answered here, your answer is probably on our website or will be in the Q&A once we get the Q&A responses posted. So Julie, back over to you.
Thanks, Tracy. All right, so really awesome questions coming in, and I'm excited to be able to answer some of those live. I know we've tagged a couple, so if your question hasn't been answered yet, it might be tagged for a live answer so that we can let everyone know the same information, because it was a really good question. But some of the frequently asked questions that we've had previously. So when does the system go live? Great question. It is scheduled to go live October 1st of 2023. So with October 1st, that is a Sunday. So we wanted to make sure that the system was up for our claimant population to be able to go in and file their weekly payment information. But that's a Sunday. And then October 2nd is a holiday for the state. So we are actually opening up our system October 1st for our TPA population to come in and register for their account. So the TPAs will have October 1st and October 2nd. There will be a way to contact the division if you are having issues, and that information will be communicated out with some instructions on what to do and where to go. Then we are going to be letting our claimant or our employer population come in on October 3rd. Starting in the morning, our emails will start rolling out in the morning. We're going to do about 5,000 emails every 30 minutes. So they won't all go out at the same time. So if you don't get your email, if we do have your email and you don't get your email first thing in the morning, don't worry. We're going to work through them. And then however long it takes us to get through them, then we will end. Our paper activations will go out October 3rd as well. So they will go out in the mail. Reason we're only letting the TPAs in first is because we don't have enough staff. We are going to have some of the project team staff in the office on October 2nd, but we will not have our phone queues open. So it just gives us an extra day to prep and be ready for all of our employers to jump into the system. When can I access the system? Oh, I kind of hit on this one already. I got a little ahead of myself. So TPAs, like I said, will begin October 1st. Once activated, the TPA will have their TPA ID number. So if needed, they can start communicating that out. And then the general employer account activation will begin October 3rd when we have staff in the building to answer questions. Can I keep using the old system? No, unfortunately not. The MyUI employer system is going to be inaccessible when we go live with the MyUI Employer Plus system. So that system will be sunset and retired, and the new system will take its place. But anything that you do in that legacy system will still will be included in the data conversion. We're going to be pulling that system down September 27th at close of business. So it'll shut down at 5 or 6 p.m. And then all of your Q3 2023 wage report filing will be submitted using the new system. But anything you do in the MyUI employer system until September 2027 will be part of the data conversion and will come over with the new system. What is the electronic filing requirement? So employers and TPAs will no longer be able to submit paper filings after the launch of MyUI Employer Plus. All correspondences will be electronic, but employers can apply for that non-electronic correspondence waiver. So that non-electronic correspondence waiver, that paper waiver filing can be, the waiver can be applied for in the system. Or you can call and talk to staff and they can do it right over the phone. Can we continue making payments by check? Yes, please. We want your money. We want to be able to post your money to your account. Within the system, there is a voucher that you can print out to send in. Although we do have the electronic funds option, it is recommended because it is faster. We get your money right away, posted to your account, and there is no processing time. So it is recommended to do it electronically, but if you do send in the check, we will still accept it. Are wage adjustments and other amendments done online? Yes, you can. So you have the option right in there. We saw one of the screens where you can go in and do that wage adjustment. So in that filing, you can also have the option to do a wage adjustment. So if you notice, oops, I accidentally typed in 500 and that actually needed to be 5,000, or the other way around. You typed in 5,000, should have been 500. You can go in and adjust that and correct that, and everything will automatically recalculate for you. Do we upload wage files inside the new system? Yes, please, except if you are a large TPA with 20 megabytes and up, we'll be setting you up with that AWS family transfer. But all of the wage filing can be done right in the system. And it's really cool because if the file is small enough, you get the results immediately. If there's any fatal errors that you need to correct, it'll list out exactly what they are. I just found out it also puts the row number where the error is, which is really cool. So it'll tell you exactly what to look for. If the file is large enough that the system can still accept it, so it's not at that 20 megabytes, but it's large enough, but it needs to be processed overnight, the system will ingest the file, and then overnight it will process, and then the next day, if there's any errors, you'll be able to see them in your account. Do we need to re-register for a MyUI Employer Plus account? Yes. So employers will need to complete a one-time activation to create their MyUI Employer Plus account. And then previous MyUI employer credentials will not grant you access to the system. So the MyUI employer system is going to be sunset. So it's going to be taken down and it won't come back up, which means that all of your current username and account information will be replaced with this account activation. The account activation process is very easy. If you get an email, if we have your email, you just click the link, type in a couple of pieces of information and you're good. If you get the paper form, it'll give you instructions on where to go to type in the same information. So it is a very easy process, and then your account is activated and you are all set and ready to go. Can TPA and employer accounts have multiple users? Yes. So each account will have a single account administrator, and have the option to add multiple sub-users. So you have the option to add additional users into your account. Sub-users can be assigned a combination of roles and permission to manage the accounts. So a lot of options there. Will account payment history be available in the new system? Yes. Current year plus the previous 5 years. So current year plus 5 is going to be automatically transferred and viewable with our data conversion within MyUI Employer Plus. There are a couple instances where we had to, on certain employer accounts, bring additional information. So you might see more information, but for the most part, everyone will have current year plus previous 5. And you'll be able to view all of that information right inside the system. Does this mean we respond to fact-finding requests online? Yes, you can. Save yourself the snail mail of getting it in the mail and sending it back. You're going to have a lot more time to respond if you respond electronically right within MyUI Employer Plus. Determinations and appeals will also be managed within the new system. So you can, if you need to, file an appeal. right in the system and type all of your information in, and you can see it. And you can also, if you want to revoke your appeal, if it's within the certain time frame and it hasn't moved to an appeal status where it's scheduled, you'll be able to revoke that appeal if needed. All right, TPA access roles and permissions. This is one of our hot topic items that we've been getting a lot of questions on. So how will TPAs get access to employer accounts? At go live, the employer or the TPA is going to activate their account, and anything from Q2 of 2023 will be associated. So any TPAs that are currently filing from Q2 will be associated with their TPA employer account. In the future, and if there was any change in Q3, employers, after they register and they activate their MyUI Employer Plus account, they will grant access to the TPA. And that's through that same screen that I showed earlier, where you just type in the TPA ID number and it asks you exactly what access you want to give, and then you're done. The TPA will have access to your account. Let's see, did I miss any part of these? And then we're also planning a TPA request for access feature, so the TPAs can initiate that in the future. Do TPAs and employers need separate accounts? Yes. And isn't it so exciting to be able to own your own account and have the TPAs be able to see all of their employers in one place? So the TPAs and employers will have separate accounts, separate login credentials, and the employers will use their employer accounts to grant the TPA access, as well as they can assign TPAs any combination of roles and permissions to conduct the business. TPAs are going to use their TPA accounts to make payments, file wages, upload documents, and manage all of their clients' accounts. What's really cool on the TPA side of things is the TPA is now able to download a bulk employer file that shows each of the employers and their rate. So bulk rate file downloads so that they're able to see everything right there. Can TPAs assign themselves to employer accounts? No, unfortunately not. But we do have that future release where they're going to be able to request access from the employer. So the employer would just have to go in and approve it. We don't know what that looks like yet because we haven't designed it, but we are working through what makes the most sense. And we'll be probably reaching out to some employer and TPAs to see what makes the most sense in the design of this to make sure that we hit it right on. So no, the employers cannot assign TPAs to their account. This is to make sure that we have account ownership integrity. TPAs must be granted access to the employer account by the employer. We do also have the option for certain situations. If needed, you can call and see if staff can help you with this. All right, and this takes us to our Q&A section of it. Megan, I saw there was one that you wanted to answer live. So for unemployment claims during the outage period and before access to the new portal is available, will there be a grace period or extension for filing employer responses on claims initiated prior to or during the outage/initial setup period?
Yeah, thanks, Julie. I thought this was a great question that I figure many of you might prefer to know the answer to ahead of time. So essentially what we've done with our benefit side is we have established essentially bank holidays. So we've equated the system to a holiday for the days of the 28th, so September 28th and 29th, that's a Thursday and a Friday. Weekends are already exempted from those timeliness responses. And then Monday, October 2nd is a holiday for the state. That's Cabrini Day for us. So essentially the 28th, 29th, and then the 2nd will be holidays and won't be held to those timeliness requirements. In addition, anything received from employers for that week through the 6th, I believe that Friday is the 6th, the adjudication team, the team that's processing your fact finding, will also be looking at anything received through the system as timely. So there's a kind of a twofold participation and partnership there on that. And so essentially, if your due date falls within the 28th through October 6th, so 9/28 through 10/6, you will be given flexibility and grace on your submission. Thanks, Julie.
Thanks, Megan. And then there was one that I tagged. Can a TPA see a complete list of the clients associated to their TPA account? Yes, you can see that in the system, and you can see what roles are assigned to you, as well as you have that option for the bulk rate download file. So you can download all of your employers along with their rate. And we did have a question previously on, will that also show the solvency surcharge? And it will show the entire rate. So the rate plus the solvency surcharge as well, if that is turned on. And there was a couple more I saw. Will the URL be the same as the current MyUI employer, or will there be a new one? So there will be a new one, but the current URL for MyUI employer will give you information and the new links. So you can go there, as well as our communications team has set up a beautiful splash page where we're going to have additional information, and then you'll be able to log in with the links to your employer or TPA account right from that splash page. And that splash page will have additional information, so it'll be really good to bookmark for the future, because we'll be able to have system updates if needed there. Megan, were there any others that you tagged?
Nothing that I tagged directly, Julie, but I did want to make a clarification or just generally address a lot of the questions that have been coming through about that TPA relationship association. I understand Julie addressed this slightly. A big shift for this new system is that we are asking that the employer accounts stay within the ownership of the employers directly. So currently, MyUI employer for the CAT system under our current legacy system umbrella, we didn't have the opportunity or the capability to have a third-party administrator portal for you to administer your clients' accounts. And so you have had to, in many cases, own that account logon information. However, the responsibility to comply to the requirements of unemployment insurance, premium reporting, and payments is on the individual employers. And therefore, it does, we do recommend that they remain the administrators and owners of their account information and login. And so for many folks who are addressing some concerns from their clients who have historically not had to have any involvement in their unemployment filings or administration, it really is going to be just that one initial registration for association if you're not currently associated. And then outside of that, you will be able to take ownership through your TPA portal. So we are very much asking that you allow those employer accounts to remain under the ownership and administration of your direct employer clients. And then along the lines of associating, I understand that there's a lot of questions around how they will get associated. I know Julie did touch on this as well. We are also working on getting some additional FAQs out for you all as we work with our system administrator, Deloitte, to make sure that we are giving the right opportunity for you to associate yourself with your clients, should there be any of that gray area between MyUI employer and how you file reporting, whether it's paper or online. So please look for more information. We will be addressing where some of our FAQ information will be available on our website at the end of this webinar. But I know that there's some anxiety around that, and I want to address that we are working on fine-tuning what some of the options will look like for that.
Thank you, Megan. Another one to answer live. Do I get an email with new credentials or via USPS mail? That is a great question. So if we currently have your email, you will get an email with new credentials. If we do not have your email, it will be via USPS. Now, Tracy, we recently sent out a postcard to all of our employers that said, please give us your email address so we can communicate with you. So if you do fill out and send us your email address that way, we are taking those and putting them in the system so that we can send you an email with your account activation, because it is easier if you get an email and it's just a link to click. So we are trying to gather email addresses from every place possible. There was also a question that was in here about having a TPA as the email, which, as Megan touched on, a lot of our TPAs do have their email addresses in their MyUI employer accounts for the employers. We are currently going through the list and scrubbing those emails out. So TPAs should not be getting an email to activate an employer account. If you do, you can reach out to us and let us know that, hey, this is the wrong email, I'm a TPA, so that we can remove that email and resend one via USPS to the employer. But for the most part, the TPA email addresses will be removed from that list. So you should not get an email to activate an employer account, knowing that there are certain scenarios with some of our PEOs that we are working through. So additional communication coming out about that. There was a question. So Megan, I'm going to kick this one to you. We would also like to see at least a 30-day extension since the go live is so late. This was done when Colorado Family went live.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Julie. So this is something that's come up before. We have been working with our division leadership to determine what's appropriate for the program at this point. We do believe, given that we are going live a month before the due date, that we will hopefully have all of the issues that may arise resolved before the large influx for reporting is occurring. So at this point, we do not have an official decision available on any official extension, but it is not something that we are that is off the table. We are continuing to consider options for that.
Thanks, Megan. Any others that you see that you wanted to answer live? There was a question on TPAs be required to pay join fees. No, TPAs do not need to pay join fees. Megan, do you want to hit on anything else with that one?
No, I think generally, if you are associated with an employer and they have associated you after go live, if you're not currently associated, there's no requirement on our end to participate in any fee structure. There is a circumstance that exists for what we call professional employee organizations or leasing companies, and they do have an annual certification fee that will be payable through the system, but that is a separate organization type. And if you are a leasing company, you know the requirements associated. So there's nothing in addition to that.
A good question here from one of our participants who is asking how the 2024 UI rates will be sent to employers.
That's a good question. So Megan, do you want to, I saw you come off mute.
Sure. Yeah, I can take that one, Julie. So those will be available to you via the system. So those, if you are a user of the system, which we are expecting and pushing all users to have a MyUI Employer Plus account, they will be sent to you as a correspondence via the system. Julie, I don't know if you can touch on if anything will be mailed.
I believe all of the rates will also be mailed. So you'll receive those as mail as well. And then I saw one here, will we as a TPA receive notification on correspondence with our clients' accounts? Reminder to file, delinquent returns, liability determination. If so, how would notification be received aside from logging into the new system and searching for correspondence? That's a great question. So you will have an inbox. So anything, if you have your preference set to electronic communications, then anytime something is triggered inside the system, you will get an email that says, hey, come in and look at something. And then you can go into your inbox and it'll be right in your inbox so you can see exactly what's going on. And all of the things. If you do not have your preference set as electronic, then it will be mailed out to the address on file.
Julie, I see another good question here from Lisa Hansen. She says, My email as a TPA is on most of my employer accounts. Can I go into each account today and update the employer's email address to their emails? And if yes, will they then receive an email to set up their account, or is this option too late to do so?
Yes, please. That is wonderful. Yes. So if you can go into, I know that's a big lift, but if you can go in and update all of the employer email addresses right in there, we're going to be taking that extract on I think it's the 27th or the 28th. We're taking that extract. So you have until MyUI employer goes dark to make those updates. And that's on the 27th at 5 or 6 p.m. is when that's set to go down. And if you do update their employer email addresses in the system, they will get the email activation at go live.
We've got a few more minutes left, Julie. I wonder if now is a good time to just kind of briefly mention what that go dark period will look like for employers.
Yeah, sure. So it's kind of a phased rollout approach because some systems are more dependent on others. So our MyUI employer system will go dark, so you will no longer be able to access it the night of September 27th. And then our internal CAT system will go dark on September 28th once all of the batch processing is done. It's set to come down September 28th at about 6 p.m. Then what we will do is take all of our extracts of data from all of our many systems, and we will start doing our data conversion and get it into the new system. And then the new system should be up, I think it's around 3 a.m. is what we're anticipating on October 1st. So it will be accessible for our claimant population as well as our TPA population. We are going to be sending out an email, probably not at 3 a.m. Once the system is live on October 1st, but we will send out an email to our TPA population to say, okay, you can go into the system now and register for your TPA account. And then October 2nd will be a day where we have our project team to help our TPA population. And then the night of the second, we will be running our TPA association file for our employer accounts so that it's associated. And then October 3rd, our employers will be welcomed into the system.
Julie, I also see a couple of our TPAs here have asked if they would be able to see a client list in advance of go live.
That is a really great question. I am not sure, but it's something that we can entertain and talk about for sure. Tracy, would it be okay for them to email? Do we want to go back to that communications page? Or after the webinar, we'll be sending out information on how to contact us. So if you do have any follow-up questions that are specific, send them our way.
Yeah, that sounds great. In the follow-up to this webinar, just as a reminder, we will send you the recording so you can watch it at your leisure. We will also include the slide deck and then more information about how to contact us with more questions. All right, we have one more minute. Is there, Megan or Julie, are there any pressing questions you want to answer?
Nothing from me, Tracy.
Nothing from me. Just thank you for the participation, everyone. We're really excited to get this information out to you, and we're even more excited to get this system live in a few short weeks. Time is ticking. We're going to be live before we know it. So really super excited to get this system up and going for us.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. Have a nice day.